I've been really excited for this because we connected on social media.
No, you found me and showed me what a badass you were. And I'm like, yeah, you were like, hey, I would like to do this for you. And a lot of people are great starters, but terrible finishers. And you were a finisher. It's like, I mean, as soon as you said, I need this, this, and this, and we sent it to you, and boom, you had it back. And I'm like, okay, this is real. So it's absolutely my pleasure to be here because you killed it for me on Instagram. So.
Thanks, man. Well, I really appreciate that. And it's funny that the second that we started working together, so many artists kind of started to connect with me. And it's funny how your world kind of opens up so many different things. And that's why I keep telling artists, like, if you don't know this guy.
And that I appreciate, but also too is quality of work attracts people too. There's a lot of people that talk a good game. There's a lot of people that will say a lot of different things, especially to artists, and they'll put their guards up. It's like today I was doing an Instagram live as I got off the plane here in Toronto. I got on the trains, and I've been in an Uber, so I've been in automobiles too. So as we're coming by, this guy comes on the Instagram live, and I said, hey, I'm gonna do a meetup here at the hotel. I'd love to meet anybody. And he comes on, he's from Harlem. He's like, dude, I got this letter, and this person was saying to me this, and they were gonna offer me a deal, and it was gonna be a signing bonus. And I said, they don't do that in email. No one legit is good. They're gonna use the email as a way to get you to come sit down and have a conversation. And not, yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I get up. It's Instagram business service. And it's like, you have been chosen to become verified.
Yeah.
And artists ask me that all the time. How do you get the blue check mark? How do you get the blue check mark? So that reads through it and says, hey, we've looked at your account and you're now eligible to be verified, and we would like to verify you. Just send us your real name, your username, your password, the country that you're in. And they had a little Facebook address down at the bottom, and I laughed because I'm already verified. And then I click on the email, and it's like Instagram Business Services @gmail.com, which anybody can create a Gmail account. So I emailed them back and I said, what up, asshole? I'm already verified. Stop trying to screw people. But that's what happens sometimes. Hey, Dre is doing a show over here. Do not be pounding while he's doing the show. But come on, dude. So that's one of the things that they came to you because they know that you would be working with me.
Absolutely.
And that I think is super important these days, is that you want to associate yourself, because I can't associate myself with someone who's doing crap work. So hats off to you for doing a fantastic job. But yeah, when I find stuff I like, I talk about it, and they'll come trapping you down. And now CJ from The Shot, I was at dinner with him, and I said, hey, I got to go. I'm meeting up with Dre. He's like, Dre Pao? I said, yeah. He goes, I got to get back to him. He reached out, wanted to do some stuff for The Shot. I said, hire him. You should. He's good at what he does.
I appreciate that, man. Well, how do artists know? Because you're very vulnerable. You want to make it, right? And you get these people reaching out, like, especially playlisting. That's a huge one.
And that's,
hey, I'm gonna curate your music. How do you know what to use and what you should?
Here's the thing. Sometimes you just have to try it. It's like, because not everyone is a scam. Now, not everyone can deliver, but not everyone's a scam. There's a lot of people that go in that have real good intentions. Their just execution sucks. So a lot of the thing right now is the big words going on right now are film and television, sync, and playlisting.
Yeah.
So there's these great marketers that have come out of the woodworks to sell you these courses, sell you these programs. The key that I would say is this: have them show you what it is that they've done for artists that are in your similar position. A lot of times they'll name off, like, you'll listen to me and I may get your attention because of Taylor Swift. But the question you should be asking is, Rick, what have you done for independent artists? What have you done for artists that aren't signed? How have you helped someone that's like me? So as you get down, and the cool part now with playlisting, by the way, guys, is that you get the ability to submit to the editorial playlist on Spotify. You don't have to hire anyone to do that. If you work backwards and give them at least 2 weeks, one, you'll get on the release radar of the people who follow you. And then also, two, is you'll give it a chance for the curators to toss it around to see if there's a playlist that makes sense. So try it on your own first a couple of times. Then you're gonna find someone who's going to come and say, hey, we can get you on a playlist. Here's the one thing. They cannot get you on the editorial playlist from Spotify, okay? They don't charge to do that, but they may have relationships with some of these smaller playlists. What you have to be careful of there is, go take a look, make sure that you've done your research, make sure that it makes sense for you, because what happens sometimes, and this is what's funny, is let's say I have a playlist and I say, okay, Dre, I'm gonna put you on the playlist, but you have to follow my playlist first. So let's say that there's 5,000 artists that I've supported over the last 3 years. What's to say that those 5,000 subscribers and followers aren't just artists that had to follow in order to be on the playlist? Right. So you might not even be getting the right audience. So it's real tricky. Make sure that if it's in your budget, try it. If not, start building your own relationships, doing your own research. What all of you need to do is become detectives. You need to sit there and say, okay, if Dre's got a playlist, let me figure out how to follow him on Instagram. Let me send him a message on Instagram and tell him how much I like his playlist. Don't tell him you're an artist yet. Don't ask him to add your song to his playlist. Just go compliment these folks a little bit. They all have egos. We all do. We all love to be complimented. So if you could do your research, and then when the time's right, say, hey, quick question, what are your submission policies? There's a book and a website that you guys should check out, Work Hard, Playlist Hard, by my buddy Mike. And Michael he was guest number 50 on my podcast. So if you follow me on Instagram, @RickBarkerMusic, go into the link in my bio, get to my podcast, episode 50. We talked all about that.
So basically what I'm getting from it, and I mean, you hear this all the time, but you got to do as much as you can by yourself.
You do.
And it's funny that I've had so many people reach out and say like, hey, can you connect me to a manager? I think it's coincidence they saw that I was talking to you, that sort of thing. But I mean, the advice I would always give is do as much stuff as you can.
Well, the thing is too, and it was interesting. So I do a lot of Instagram lives, and I was doing an Instagram live one night, and this guy came on, and he's like, his name was Daquan, and he's a rapper. And he's like, hey, bro, I need you to manage me. And I said, can I bring you on? So I pushed him and he came on. I said, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? He said, absolutely. I said, and if you don't know the answer, that's not wrong. I said, I want to try to teach people from this experience. So first thing I did was I asked him, I said, where in my bio or what have you read on me that shows that I have had any success managing rappers or hip hop artists? I said, now in my bio, it says I love hip hop, but I don't have connections in that space. I said, secondly, as I said, what is it that you think you need a manager for? And he started answering these questions. I said, well, here's the good news. I said, you don't need a manager in order to record music. You don't need a manager in order to help you write music. You don't need permission from a manager in order to put out music. You don't need a manager for those things. Once you have activity that you've created, then you need a manager to help you organize. And I started sharing them what it is that I do for the artists that are signed to labels. I'm the go-between between the booking agent, and I'm sending reports to the business manager, and I'm doing meeting with the label and, advising and guiding the artist, and I'm fielding things that come in for the artist. And he was just kind of blown away. So also too is that what you got to remember is that if you're not in a position to pay a manager, the manager's work's done on the front end. There may or may not be a back end. So don't take it personal if no one's coming at you just yet. You are your first manager. You are your first booking agent. You are your first publicist. So there's a lot of those roles that you need to do. That's a lot of the reason why I created the programs that I created, is to help people understand the jobs with those roles so that you can do it yourself. Or if you have a friend, that just believes thoroughly in you and your music, and they have a certain skill set, let them be your first manager. Let them be your first booking agent. Let them be your first publicist. A lot of bands have done that, and a lot of bands have been very successful. And then as you start generating income, you can start paying them a little bit, show them you appreciate them, take them to dinner every now and then. But once you start generating income, and once people start seeing you're selling tickets and merchandise and you're really active on the playlist, a manager will find you. Trust me, they're waiting to find someone like you.
Speaking of your programs, a lot of things that I've come across. I'm from a city called Hamilton. We're just outside.
I know where it's at.
And I find that the city has so much talent with regards to music, but something that it's lacking is the social media knowledge.
I have my own feelings on why the Canadians have struggles with social media. It's because there's not a grant for it. You got to lobby for it then. You guys are spoiled. You've got a government that supports what it is that you do. And what happens is you guys will go and you'll ask for money to record a record, and then you'll record a record, but you don't have an audience. So who are you going to sell it to? the government, in my opinion, wastes so much money. What I think should happen, and it will be better for you guys, you may say, dude, you're an ass, but here's the thing, is if there were benchmarks that you had to hit to release remaining funds. So it says, okay, I'll just use generic numbers. Here's $1,000. Let's go out and build an audience. You build an audience, you've got a certain level of engagement, then we release $5,000 for you to go to record. Here's why that would be beneficial, is because now you have an audience to sell that to. Now you can actually make money. Right now, you guys are out trying to go get strangers to like what it is that you've recorded. And I just think it's a broken system. And every year, this is my 4th year here, and every year I come in and I see some of the best talent in Canada. I love the Canadian talent, and it bums me out when I go and I see 300 Twitter followers, or I see someone who hasn't posted on Facebook. It's like, you guys will always, I say you guys, and that's a very broad statement, but a lot of what I get to is that, Rick, I've got to get out of Canada in order to be successful. Let me tell you this, Shawn Mendes was found in Canada. Justin Bieber was found in Canada. The Weeknd was found in Canada. What did they do? They went out and built audiences. They didn't sit around and wait for the government to help them. They went out on Vine. They went out on YouTube. The Weeknd went out and just wrote, and played. None of those guys had to leave Canada in order to become famous. They were found here, okay? This is so much talent that's up here. So the internet, the WWW stands for World Wide Web. They put themselves out there to the world right here in Canada by utilizing the internet. So that's the customer service portal of your business. It's very noisy. It's very crowded. Your music, as long as you don't suck, you have a chance to break through, but you got to put in the work. You don't wait to be discovered. We don't discover people. We discover planets and cures for diseases. But we will get caught up. When we see you're doing something right, we'll come right after you. That's what when I'm here, it's like, I walk around and everybody's like in the hall. It's just, they're asking basic questions. And I'm like, it's simple. It really is. You just show up every day for an hour. If you can't give an hour for the customer service part of your business, reevaluate what it is that you're doing, or just be a hobbyist. That's cool too.
I find Canadians romanticize the idea of, I'm going to Nashville, I'm going to Los Angeles. If you were a Canadian artist, would you save up and
I would make trips. There? I would make trips, because here's what happens. When you go to these music hubs, if you're in hip hop, you want to get down to Atlanta. If you're country, pop now, rock, Nashville, Austin, if you're a band. Go down there to network. Go down there to be challenged. Don't go there to stick out, because you won't. It's a very humbling town. Right now, the hip hop scene up here in Toronto, holy shit, why would you want to leave that? Why would you want to leave? I haven't found, and it's tougher to find the pop producers up here. You can go to LA, there's some really good ones now in Nashville, but if you're doing hip hop and you're doing your own indie thing, stay here, take advantage of the scene, take advantage of the government. Canadian Music Week, oh my God. The resource that this is, the fact that you've got, think about that's up here. Indie Bibles from here, Booking Agents Directories from here, Bandzoogle is from here. It's nuts.
So there's all these different organizations here.
Yes.
As you're here, there's going to be hundreds of people who are going to want to connect with you.
I hope.
How do you stand out as somebody who's like, I want Rick to remember my name. I want Rick to remember my music.
First off, when you show up and introduce yourself to me, look like a freaking star. Don't blend in. When you come to me, don't try to hand me music. I don't need your music. Save it for the fans. What I'm going to do is we're going to have a conversation. Maybe do your homework. Do your research. Maybe check out my socials. See what the last couple things that I posted was, and maybe follow them. Don't come up and ask me if I work with you, because I won't. It's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do my presentation. People are going to come up to me. I'm going to give them an opportunity to come inside my world. Most of them are going to pass, but they're going to sit there and come to me later and say, hey, would you listen to my music and tell me what you think about it? Or, hey, would you take a look at my website and tell me what you think about it? The answer for me is going to be no, because that's just not what I do. I do for people who invest in me, I invest back. I'm going to give you my all. I paid for my own flight up here. I paid for my own Airbnb up here. CMW doesn't reimburse me for anything. I'm coming up here to build my brand. So when you're asking for my time, I need to give it. I have a lot of Canadian clients, so I'm going to be spending that time with them. But don't try to hand your music off to industry professionals. They're not going to take it. It'll probably end up stuck in the hotel room or something. Get your website set up. Act like you belong. I think it's probably the biggest thing. You know, it's like, don't ask me for anything. Ask me questions. Don't ask me to do things for you. Ask me questions. I'm more than happy to answer questions. But when you're asking me to give up my time, I kind of owe that to my clients. So nobody takes offense to that, but if you do, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, you take time out of your day, you come down here. I know you have a family as well.
I do.
And you've been in the industry for so long, and I find something that I haven't heard you talk too much about that I'm really curious about is how do you balance that, keeping the family thing going?
I have a great wife. I have a great wife that understands. It's easier now that my kids are teenagers. You know, it's hard for me to get on their schedules. They appreciate what it is that I do. I mean, it's like I start every month at $0. So I need to be able, so that's why I'm constantly giving and giving and giving, but they understand that, you know, I'll get home Saturday night, we'll be there for Mother's Day, we'll have that taken care of. You know, I go to my daughter's boyfriend soccer games, you know, we hang out, but they've got their own lives going on, it's easier, but I have a wife that really understands what happens, and when we are on vacation, we're on vacation, but this is my job. You know, it's 401 Rick. You know, we have 401ks. I don't know if they have that up here in Canada, but down there, your retirement plan is called a 401k. Mine's 401r. It's if there's anything in it, it's because I did it. So, I mean, my goal, and people who follow me know this, is my job and my goal is to influence 1 million people with songs I didn't write or perform by teaching you guys how to get rid of it. But what you have to understand is that education costs money. Now, you can go to university and spend 4 years and a boatload of cash and get a degree on theory, or you can spend a couple $100, come into my world and learn reality of what's happening. You know, you can also, I have a coaching program now. Opened it up this year for the first time ever. I've got people all over the world. Every week I come on, they're able to ask me questions. I'm able to help guide them for pennies. So it's the way I look at it is those that pay attention. For whatever reason, somebody told artists a long time ago that they should be starving artists and everybody should just give them their stuff, but they'll go spend $5,000 on a guitar they don't know how to play and be okay with it instead of bitching at the dude at Guitar Center that sold it to them. But I show up and say, hey, it's $97 for this. They're like, what? You're gonna charge? Yeah, it's a business.
Yeah, and with that business, for artists that I've come across a lot of artists who are like, oh, I'm just an artist. I play the music. I don't want to do social media.
But that's okay. If you don't want to have a following and you don't want anybody to hear your music, that is okay. But then don't complain to us that no one's hearing your music because the tool is there. It's like sitting there having a Ferrari that you have the keys to and then deciding to walk 10 miles and then bitching that you had to walk for 10 miles. Dude, you had the keys to the Ferrari. You just didn't know how to get in the Ferrari and drive it. So no, it's like if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. The world will survive whether your music gets heard or not. You're not curing cancer. They will live without Rick Barker. If Rick Barker disappeared, the world will be okay. You know, it's like what I have to do is that I have to be on there every day hoping that for some fraction of a second in your very busy day, I caught your attention. Why do you think I'm agreeing to do this? I may get to somebody who has no idea who I am. Somebody may go, I like that guy. He's very straightforward. I like to tell people I'm not for everybody. I'm like sushi. I'm an acquired taste. But if you want somebody who's going to show you the work that needs to be done, make sure that you know how to do it. Then I'm the type of guy you want to work with. If you want someone that's just going to tell you how great you are and stroke your ego and bullshit you, then I'm not your guy. You know, I like to be a solutions-based person, and that's worked really well for me.
And something I see that you keep doing is throughout your career, regardless of your level of success, you keep networking, and I always see you connecting with new people, new artists, new influencers. Is that something you did from the beginning, or is that something you learned over time?
What I try to do is this. I go about things in reverse. I try to find people that I can serve first. So I'll use the Indie Bible as a great example. So I paid to have emails sent to the Indie Bible's list. It went really well. It was very productive. So then I went back to them and I said, hey, how can I serve you guys? Can I do free webinars? Can I can we do a survey and find out what it is that your audience wants to know more about? And then let me bring some of my buddies in and people that I have access to, and let's start loving on them a little bit. And then when the time is right, we'll make them an offer. And they were like, absolutely. So I kind of flipped the script. It's the same way you reached out to me. You reached out to me and said, hey, I would like to serve you. I would love to create some things for you. You didn't call up and said, hey, I'm Dre. This is how much people pay me to do this. And this is what I think you should be paying me. You called me and said, let me show you what it is that I can do. And I was like, absolutely. And then when I said, hey, here's a budget of $500, go spend it any way you want. You pick the audiences. This is your test. That's how he called asking how he could serve me, not, hey, this is what I do. This is how much I charge. It's like a lot of times for you as bands, you know, it's like you want to break into a new market, go into that new market. Don't go in and try to get paid first. You don't bring anything of value yet. Go in, save up, make an investment. His investment to me has now led to some other things. My investment with him has now led to some other things. So a lot of times we need to go in and see what we can do for each other and not just go in thinking what we can get for ourselves.